Hey, this is another great video about Ricky Kennerly cichlids. In this video we're looking at the Frontosa family. There's a lot of things I can show you in this aquarium. A lot of upgrades I've done. Just some good guidelines and tips for a very fresh Frontosa family. So stay tuned for this great video. Thank you for watching. So basically, if you're new to this channel, we have a pair of Frontosas that have been breeding for years. We have Spyro on the right, the alpha male, and we have Toe in the cave. Now Toe comes out and swims around as well. She likes the cave, gives her security. But if you look, there is plenty of Frontosa fry freely swimming around with their parents. Now the one thing I want to make sure is very clear, this will not work in a colony. I have tried it. I've had the females release their fry in a colony, and the rest of the Frontosas in the colony ate all the fry within like about 30 seconds. So this only works in the past with all my pairs I've had with the Frontosa pair. So if you want to have your fry released in the same aquarium as the parents, make sure there's no other Frontosas in the aquarium or other fish that were able to eat them. Now to give you a guideline of what I'm using here for filtration, I'm using a Matin filter over here. I have two powered pumps that make the flow in the aquarium, and then also behind the Matin filter I have an air stone, which actually helps in the sucking of the waste particles into the Matin filter, just like the undergravel filter works. And it also puts a lot more oxygen in the aquarium. You want to have a lot of oxygen in your aquarium. Sometimes flow, even though it looks really good, flow will not necessarily put the amount of oxygen you need in your aquarium. So I'm going to show you some maintenance that I'm going to be doing for this aquarium. I'm going to point out what to look for when you should do maintenance. If you look right here, there's a little bit of algae on the glass, a little bit of hairy algae. I'm going to be scraping that off. If you look at the tint of the water, yes, the lighting is where it's a little bit yellow regardless. But after a while you can see, and you observe your water, you can see if it actually gets a little bit more yellow than just from the light. So we're going to be doing a water change on this aquarium. And the important thing about the water change on this aquarium, I waited a few weeks after the Frontosa fry were released because I did not want to stress them unjustly and cause chaos in the aquarium. So waited a few weeks. Also, the pump that I'll be using to suck out the water, the intakes are not big enough where it will suck in the Frontosa fry. That's very important. So I'll be using a pump to suck out the water, and I'll be adding a couple of little decorations, a couple of rocks in this aquarium as well. Now you see there that Spyro has a cave back there. That's really good for his territories. He really likes it. So both the Frontosas have caves. So if you want to have a pair that you want to get breeding, caves are very, very beneficial to a setup. Now in this aquarium, the flow from the Matin filter, I've gotten and worked out on this aquarium to the optimum flow rate. Plus there's oxygen going in with an air stone behind the Matin filter, so everything's perfection as far as the flow for the Frontosas. It's not bothering the fry. You see them, if you look closely over here on the Matin filter, eating off there and all around through here. They got Frontosa fry, so they're not going to be bothered. You see the main Frontosas coming out and swimming around, so the flow is not affecting me. It's perfect. It's just the right amount, so I'm using this as a model for my future aquariums. So let me go ahead and start the process of getting the water out. I'll show you what I do, and we won't spend too much time on that, but I want to show you what it looks like afterwards. Alright, I've already scraped the algae off the glass, and you see here I got a pump in here and it's sucking out the water. If you look at the intake spots on the pump, they're smaller than the Frontosas, the baby Frontosas, so they'll be safe. That's why I wait a few weeks for them to get adjusted and get a little bit of size on them before I start doing my water changes the normal way. I also like to have the pump a little bit elevated off the sand so it won't suck any sand up. And the easiest way to do that is I have the lid kind of closed down on the tube, the hose, and it keeps it elevated a little bit so you will not be sucking up sand during your water transfer. So after I get this transferred out here and water put back in, I'll show you some of the rocks I put in there and some other interesting things that you want to see. One thing I do want to mention is that when I have the water change process going on, I have all pumps clicked off by just turning one switch on the power strip. The lighting is actually going through a different power strip so I can have light during the water change process. So that's pretty cool. You just one switch turns off all the pumps, the heaters, everything, and then you still have light to see what's going on. So that's kind of a cool little tip that's easy to do. Just wanted to show you that I've done about a 70% water change. I've actually taken about 70% out and be putting about 70% in. The reason I'm doing such a large water change is sometimes I go a couple of weeks without doing a water change, maybe even longer at times. Sometimes I do them every week just to make sure. Sometimes I do a bigger water change to keep things in check and give them a jump start, especially for the baby fry. Now I'm filling up the aquarium. Now just so you know, I mix my water in a 55-gallon trash can, and what I do is I get the water filled up in the trash can. I put the dechlorinator in there and I have a pump swirl it around and get it mixed up before I put it back into the aquarium. That makes sure I have the temperature where I need it to be. And whether it's too hot or too cold, it's just, I know for sure by checking it with my hand that it's okay, and that the chlorinator has gone through the water completely and got all that chlorine out. So now I'm filling up the aquarium and we'll be back for some more fun footage. So I just wanted to point this out. I'm still filling the aquarium full of water, and you see all the Frontosas because of the splash and all the baby fry gathered in one spot and are just hanging out until the water change procedure has been complete. But that was cool to show you. There's a little bit of place around this rock in the big cave for spiral from the hide and chill out. That's always good for water change, to have a place for your fry to comfortably relax while it's going on. Now the aquarium is still filling up, but I just want to touch up on something that's almost always asked when I do a video on Frontosa fry. What do you feed them? So these fry have been growing relatively fast, probably faster than my last batch. And what have I been feeding them? I've basically been feeding the floating omnivore pellet from Aquarium Co-op. What they do is they get the bits and pieces that spread out through the water as it starts to dissolve, and they also pick on the pellets. Right now they're getting a little bit of the what they can eat on in the water column as the water is being circulated around by adding water from the water change. So they get it out of the water column, so you can have different amounts of food to feed these fish, but this works great. Now also another question I get is, do I cull my fry? This particular pair normally has no babies that look bad. They all look great, great coloration, great stripes. So I have no need to cull any of these fry. Now if I was looking for the perfection Frontosa, that'd be fine, but they all look astounding to me when they grow up and have great coloration. So on this particular group of fry and from this particular pair, no culling is necessary. Okay, the water has been put back in and you can tell the difference in the tint of the water. I just wanted to show you how close these baby Frontosas get to the male. Right up to him, and he leaves them alone. And he's breathing a little hard because of his stress. The water king, he gets a little stressed, but he'll relax here in a couple of minutes. He's already wanting to get out and swim and check things out because of the good water conditions. But Spyro's doing great. He leaves the youngins alone, but I am going to add some things right now that you may want to notice for your fry. Now things have stirred up just a little bit because when you turn back on the pump after it's been sitting off, it does stir up some things. So I didn't want to wait to get that going. So I'm going to add the additions to the aquarium right now. Now if you see that heater, it's crooked and that's bothering me. I bet it's bothering some of you. So we're going to take care of that as well. But first off, I got a couple of rocks. Now a lot of people have rocks that they can dig out from around where they live, and if you do, you need to take advantage of that. I don't have the opportunity to go places as well as other people, so I do have some rocks that I've purchased from the local fish store. Then I do have some that I've gotten from nearby facilities. So we got one rock, it's a lava rock. Put it in there. Now I may move it around. I'm just showing you what I'm doing here is I'm getting some spaces so that if the adult Frontosas start to bother the small Frontosas, just chasing them around, they'll have places to hide, and they can hide around those spots right there. Now let me get the heater straightened up because I'm sure that's bothering some of you and it bothered me. So we'll get it straightened up. And then I'm going to add one thing that it may be kind of a surprise for some of you if you've not watched some of my videos. So let me get that added. Now if you look down here, look at all those Frontosas checking out the new rocks. They're swimming around, the water changes is done. So they're starting to relax and get all swimming around. You see a special L35 or something like that that's swimming around. There's a couple of them, a male and a female, which I tried to breed but didn't have the right water parameters. Anyways, these Frontosas are checking things out, swimming around. They're all around the aquarium, checking out the new ornaments, which is real rock. Now let me show you what I'm going to add to this aquarium that is going to be a big surprise to you. Alright, here we go. I'm going to put the addition into the aquarium. It's going to be kind of a surprise for some of you, but if you watch some of my recent videos, maybe not. So let's put it in. Boop. There it drops down. Let's zoom in on that. What is it? Yep, looks like some algae. That's my favorite algae. So I want to get it going in this aquarium. It may or may not do good in this aquarium, but we'll see. With the mat and filter, it will not be sucked up and disappear through the filtration system. The Frontosas should leave it alone, and hopefully it will spread throughout the aquarium. So I'm excited about that. I think you've noticed that the water tint is a lot brighter, a lot less yellow after the water change. Part of that tint was due to the lid on the aquarium, which I did do some cleaning on the lid. So if you forget to do that, that can affect your tint of your water. So thanks again for watching this awesome, great video by Ricky Kennerly Cichlids, and stay tuned for more videos by Ricky Kennerly Cichlids.